Welcome to the Unapologetically Molly podcast. We're here with Dr. Secil.
That's
right?
me.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Right.
You got the right one here today.
Yes. I have been really on you because I'm like, I have to get her. I have to talk to her because you are just so amazing. I see so many posts about your travels and your businesses. So I thought it would be really good to sit down and talk about, every single business that you have
not?
and kind of like your journey on the whole mindset over, circumstances, because I don't think a woman has all these talents and businesses and not have went through something in their life. So I have to ask you, what was your journey like? And what do you have now as far as businesses?
Okay, so most successful people, we have been through some stuff, some STUFF, some stuff. Mm-hmm. I am homegrown St. Louis, born and raised, but let me tell you, it wasn't pleasant. It wasn't easy. It was some really hard beginnings, okay? I was a high school runaway. I slept on people's floors, basements, sometimes people I didn't know, and on couches of some friends or peers from schoolmates. I was being abused as a young person in the home, so I am a victim of domestic violence as far as living with my mom, and she's had men friends over the years and things like that. But it's very unfortunate that me in my early years, because children are adults in training, and to have to go through those different situations as a child. No child should be allowed or should be placed in those situations or to have seen what I have seen. So those are the humble beginnings where where things started. And the abuse and the neglect and the beatings and the being choked and being laughed at because you can't get your algebra homework done, and to be looked at and say, oh, the white people on television, those are devils, and to have the contrast on the television played with to express that white people are devils. And this is coming from an adult to a child, which was me at the time. So those are the type of beginnings that has led me to where I am. Some people may face those type of issues or scenarios growing up from a child, and as an adult they don't function well. So I learned and absorbed and adjusted to chaos. So I do well in chaos. I do well in multitasking and difficult situations, and which has taught me how to critical think. So just think of me being in a hospital, an ICU or an ER or any type of ancillary, and there is a code and someone is having cardiac arrest or anything like that, it becomes chaotic. Well, someone has to start writing and taking notes. You point for that person. Or if you in a medical field or in a medical clinic, you point to that person to call 911. Your brain has to be able to think and not panic and just call out and delegate. And then a couple of hours, everything's over. You could take a deep breath, right? So growing up, I was in high school living out of my locker. I was living out of a Steak and Shake bag.
Shake?
Yes, I had clothes and things in the bag and was living out of a locker. And no one had no idea me going to school every day, smiling as if nothing's happening at home, and still being that strong. That girl, when I look at that in the mirror sometime and I see that girl, I think about that little girl. That little girl was strong. That little girl, she just was pushy. She made it. She kept smiling and she kept looking and she kept praying. And that's another thing. The Lord is first and foremost. And some people don't understand that. We got to have that faith. Because it's been so many times over the years that I have taken the stairs, but I ain't see a staircase. So that's where faith comes in.
Wow. Wait.
Yes.
So you've taken the stairs, but there was no staircase.
That's right. That's faith all the way upside down, no matter which way you turn it. That's exactly what it is.
So as a doctor, can you give us that one moment that kind of changed at the beginning of your career that you're like, oh, this is really happening? Like as a doctor, like, because I know you see a lot of stuff in the ICU, and including like when the pandemic hit. Like,
Well, I am a family nurse practitioner with a doctorate, and working front lines for like New York and Texas ICU during the pandemic, and I was in the beginning. I was in the infancy, the first part where everything was unknown. We didn't know how to fight this beast. We didn't know what it was, and we were constantly learning, and protocols were changing all day, every day. I mean, that was probably one of the scariest things I've ever done in my life, but it was needed. I felt like I needed to be there. I felt like I needed to help other people, even though I was placing my life on the line, even though I knew I had children at home. I felt like I needed to be there. I had friends calling me. They didn't have the PPE. They didn't have the measurements to take care of themselves. So I was sending them things, and they were asking me to come, and I'm like, oh no. So I kept praying about it because I was afraid to go initially. But somehow when I prayed about it and took that little nap we need, because hustlers, we don't sleep, we take naps, right? And I had to think about it. That's right. So that's the Lord doing that little nudge. I need you. I need you. So at that point, I knew it was time for me to do it, although my friends had already been asking. And I finally said, okay, I'm going to help out.
I remember seeing a picture of you, and I think you had like 3 PPEs on at one time.
I mean, we were nervous about it. I was really covered, and after a while, I was able to get that battery pack operated, full head blown, a big machine mask and all this with the air blowing in my face like hazmat. And I mean, I really think that really saved my life, because I took care of so many people, and I came back home. I made it back home. Some of the other providers gotten sick. Some of the other providers did.
You never got COVID?
I didn't get it until 2 years later, taking care of my man friend, and he gave it to me. So I'm like, I've been all around the world. I've been all frontline COVID.
Was you down? Like, I know men go down when they get sick, but did you go down when you got sick?
I had it a sick area probably about 12 hours. And he was taking care of me, and I was taking care of him.
So nice.
And I'm telling you, with this gentleman, when that happened, I saw a totally different side of him that perhaps I had never seen. And he really was taking care of me. And so now, looking back at that, I trust and know that if I'm ever sick or anything, I know he loves me enough that he will take care of me because of that situation.
Oh my God, that had to have been like really
aha
like
moment.
Bonding. And
It was really, it was bonding. Definitely bonding. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so tell me a little bit about the other businesses that you have going on.
Okay, so the Health and Wellness Center has been owned for 9 years by me and created and built. We now have right at 7,000 patients in the database.
And you're located in
Sunset Hills, and 9 years ago, our first Black-owned business in Sunset Hills. Yay. And so we do a little liposuction. We do weight loss, ton of weight loss. That's the American way now, right? And a lot of hormone replacement, IV therapy, primary care, all those sort of things, both men and women. And we do see some children, and we do Botox and those sort of things. The Leah Helen's Helping Hands is a home care, and I've owned since 2019. And that too is in Sunset Hills. It's right across the hall from the Health and Wellness Center. I did name it the Leah Helen's Helping Hands after my great grandmother. Her name was Leah Helen, and she just was the most beautiful person inside and out. And she's my foundation. She's part of my strength of who I am. So that business was named after her. I've owned a couple of other businesses, but over time I sold them. So, I'm a serial entrepreneur, business person. So that's the whole point, is at the end to be able to sell, right? So those have been sold. And then I built a restaurant called At Sunrise, and it is in Imperial, Missouri. First Black-owned business in Imperial or Jefferson County. Yes.
Missouri.
Yes.
Taking over.
And I just really wanted us to have a unique menu in that area, and thought that Jefferson County deserved to have the fresh squeezed orange juice, pineapple pancakes, custard French toast, we have cocktails as well, and we have shrimp and grits and fried green tomatoes and some of those comfort foods.
Fried green tomatoes.
Yes, even though brunch is really my passion. I love brunch, and I really wanted to make sure we put that there. But here's something that I'm going to go ahead and share with you and share with everyone, because I have not shared this one with anyone, and it kind of was just dropped into my lap recently.
Ooh.
And I was thinking of my future being that it's a commercial property and owning a piece of commercial property. And I haven't shared it with anyone, maybe a couple of people that are around me on a daily, like, inner circle. But I'm just going to go ahead and say this. I am now proud owner of a daycare that I purchased a few weeks ago, and things were signed, and I acquired it. And so we went in and kind of redone a lot of things and protocols, and we use a Raggio protocol and it's a name from Italy, but it's more of a scientific learning base. And I definitely believe our children are our future, and I wanted to be a part of that. So I am definitely going to enjoy story time with Dr. Snaz at the daycare. And this daycare is the first Black-owned business in Winfield, Missouri.
Winfield.
Yes, ma'am. And it is called Winfield Children's Center. So that is our name and logo, and we've been working behind the scenes, getting things up and going with inspections and sanitation.
So when is that due to open?
We are potentially waiting for another inspection and sanitation and the fire marshal. So we're hoping to potentially take our first students the first week of August. So we want to be ready for then. So we've been working on everything.
Oh, that's fast. So you have
Yes, I move quickly.
a month and a half.
Yes, behind the scenes, there's always a lot of things that are going on behind the scenes while everybody else is sleeping. I'm usually up, and I'm up at about 3:30, or I stay up late to make sure all the ends are meeting and all protocols are in place and policies and procedures. So if you were to text me at 3 a.m., I might answer you probably at 3:30 or 4.
I'm up at 4.
Yes.
Every day.
So I just wanted to share that with everyone, because the children are our future, and we need to help kind of mold them and teach them, and just take care of them for those parents who are in need of those daycare services, so their parents can make a living.
And what ages?
The ages, we're doing baby, and we've got the cutest little 3 to 5 year old room, and then the toddler room, and the little ones, and we have a kitchen. We'll be cooking for them every day, and healthy
Compliments
meals.
of Sunset?
No, it's too far, because
Okay.
Winfield, Missouri is way out more west, like near Troy.
Yeah.
And Jefferson County is way south. So that they're an hour apart. So we wouldn't be able to do that. So we'll be cooking on site. There's a kitchen there on site.
Fresh.
So we'll do that.
Fresh.
Yeah. So now we're waiting. We're looking at our new playground equipment. So I'm working on that. So we have to have some good things outside for the kids to play on, because you want to have where learning and fun comes together to make play. And I think that's so important. I'm very, very, very excited about it. I'm really, again, excited for Dr. Snaz story time.
Tell me about this Dr. Snaz, because I see it all over your face. Well, how did you come up with that?
Okay, so several years ago, dating an old friend, and I dress up every day with all this colorful craziness and fun.
I've seen that on Facebook.
Thank you. I tried.
Yeah.
But
You need a sponsorship.
I'd
be like, I like that outfit right there.
Thank you. And I've been thankful to get some really special pieces from different places. And I do have a couple stylists right here in St. Louis that help dress me for different events and such. But he began to start calling me Snazzy as a nickname. And it kind of just stuck with everyone, just started calling me Snaz. And then before you know it, it's Dr. Snaz. So we have it on license plates. We have it just written everywhere. It's become a brand. And it's just probably, I would call it, would you call it an alter ego, you think?
You know, I do have an alter ego. I do have her name is Shantae.
Oh.
We don't get to her. She like, but let's go.
So that's how the Dr. Snaz was born, and I just think it's snazzy. I think it's colorful, it's full of energy, and some of our menu items at Sunrise are like our snazzy drink.
You're supposed to bring me a plate.
Oh, sure. I'm just sure that would have made it really nicely. Coming way from Jefferson County to downtown, it wouldn't have survived. So, and plus, we close at 2:30 daily, so it's 7 to 2:30, and it is now after 5. So. I don't think it would have survived well, and I wouldn't have wanted a bad review from you. No. So we want to make sure that we keep everything fresh. At Sunrise, we have fresh ingredients daily, and all of our items are made from scratch. There's nothing back in house. That's just add water to it, and that's another thing why that was very important to me. And like having fresh squeezed orange juice, because who wants store-bought orange juice? Not I. So
there's a lot of sugar in that.
Yeah, I'd rather have the fresh
So do you get it
squeezed.
From the Missouri farms, like some of the
we make it there ourselves.
The vegetables and the produce.
We get it from nearby the farmers market.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay.
And our coffee is Chauvin. It's family owned, local, right in Kirkwood, 63122, and it's premium coffee. And everyone talks about our coffee. I'm not a coffee drinker.
So wait, you have a coffee shop. Is that the coffee shop?
The coffee shop is where we get our coffee from.
Okay.
The company is called Chauvin Premium, and that's over in Kirkwood. Okay. So that's where we get our coffee from.
Okay. So you have the restaurant.
We do.
You have your med spa.
We do.
And now you have your daycare.
And I have a home health.
And a home health. That's
yes.
4 businesses. Like
I have over 60 employees.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. So I have to make sure everybody has payday and make sure everything's done and keep everything rolling and keep it all together.
So how has that been? Because I know you have 3 beautiful kids. How has that been like?
I've raised 5 kids. I've given birth to 3. One of them is a nurse, and he just recently was married, and they have their home. The oldest one is married with children. My middle child is pre-med. She does work for the home care, and she does work at the restaurant, and she is also in the Navy, so she's serving our country. That's Symphony Shadrosky. And then Serenity Shadrosky is in the FAMU. She's in college now, and she's home for school, so she too sees our patients for home care, and she does work at the restaurant as well. So the 2 younger ones help out with the businesses. The other ones know. Oh, I didn't mention Seth and my middle one, my son, my firstborn. His name is Sethin, and he's around.
He's around. That's all he is.
He's around. My friend Molly here is asking me about how is it difficult sometimes dealing with employees. I have over 60 employees, and it has been times people will attempt to take you out of your character, and sometimes being as a human being, you try very hard not to go there, but I'm not fake. And I tell it like it is. I'm not gonna beat around the bush. If you getting on my nerves, I'm gonna tell you that you're getting on my nerves. If you continue to get on my nerves, then we got a whole nother problem, and then I'll get the cussing or telling you to get the F out, and the door's right there. And I've done it on a few occasions.
Yeah, 4. You're about to get the daycare side of it, but like you have 4 business right now.
Yes.
So
yeah, and when you're dealing with adults, it can get like that. And then people see a person like me, a serial entrepreneur, or see that I'm doing something or going somewhere, or I dress a certain way, or I drive this or that, and they will latch onto you because they want to be a part of it. Or there's jealousy, or there's tendencies. You get family members that do the stuff too. Or they begging or asking for money or needing this, or can you help sponsor this or help do this or help do that. Listen, if you trying to get somebody to sponsor something and you trying to do a business venture or something like that, you need to build it and do it on your own. You don't need to be begging other people that have already been successful of doing so. I have not taken any loans starting my businesses. Even from the 9 years ago when I started the Health and Wellness Center, I used all my savings that I had, okay? I didn't ask anybody for anything. So if you're trying to do something, you don't need to always ask people and be begging from people. Do it yourself so you can put the real work in. You have to crawl before you walk, okay? You have to really put the efforts in, stand up to 3 a.m. trying to write everything out, policies and procedures, and get all the paperwork together, presentations and PowerPoints and all of those things. Nothing was ever given to me. No one was like some rich sugar daddy or my dad or anybody else ever has given me anything. So I'm up late working, I'm running around, I'm driving around back and forth all the time, checking all the businesses every day. I'm seeing patients all the time. I'm writing something, coming up with something. I got to argue with somebody. You know what I'm going to say? You guys know The Color Purple?
Oh, no.
When Sophia Oprah Winfrey, she said, all my life I've had to fight. You know what? That's what I feel like. All my life I have had to fight about anything and everything because people will try to take you there. People try to take advantage of you. And everything is cool as long as you give them a little money or helping them out or letting them hang out, let them ride in the Lamborghini or let them do this or whatever. The moment you tell somebody no, it's a problem, Molly. The moment you set up a boundary, it's a problem. Cecil's mean. She'll curse you out. She ignorant. She ain't gonna do this. She ain't gonna do that. Oh, that's because I checked you. Okay, checkmate. And if you don't do that, Molly, you know, if you don't check people and set boundaries, then you're disrupting your self-care. You're like losing yourself. And here's another thing I like to remind people when they trying to come in the office and trying to get a deal and a discount. When you go to Louis Vuitton, there's no deal or discount. You know what you're coming in here for. So you know, you coming into the office or you coming in a restaurant, you say the price too high. Well, perhaps fast food is for you. Okay, perhaps the at Sunrise is not for you, or the Health and Wellness Center is not for you. Because I'm going to share this. I'm going to hit this camera with this one.
Hit them with it.
Hit them with it.
Hit 'em with it.
I didn't go to school all these years to give you a discount. Okay, I did not.
Not one.
Yes, so you have to understand. I have family and children as well that are in college. Okay, I have bills and other issues as well. We're all human beings, and I'm just going to lay it out there on the table for you. Okay. Don't ask me for nothing unless I have a job. I have
you give people opportunities.
Positions and opportunity if you need something. And then I've offered that to someone before. When I said, so I didn't want to do that. I just need to know if you could just loan me. I just gotta pay my car payment. Well, if I loaned you to pay your car payment this time, how you gonna pay your car payment next month? You gotta pay me back. So you already putting yourself in a hole already. So we on the finances now. Okay, so I built a big dream home and
I do remember that.
Years,
I remember
and
that.
I haven't given a virtual tour and I'm not going to. So don't ask anymore. It's private. Any photos or pictures you may see out there on social media, you're not seeing the whole thing. You get a little glimpse or me marking over it or something like that because it's not for you to see unless you're invited. And I really don't invite people over much either. I spend a lot of time there alone. You know why? Because it's peace and it's quiet and it's alone. And it's serene. And it's my blessing that I work for and that I had to struggle as a young person to make it to. And the Lord blessed me with it. So it's my blessing. It's not for me to share.
Not for you to share.
Okay, no. And I'm a very generous person. If you're around me, people know that. People that are really around me, they know I'm a very generous person. But don't try to use me. Don't try to grab onto my little skirt tail and latch on. I can tell when you're doing it, and I know it, and I can feel it.
When did that spirit of discernment come over you?
Is that what it is?
Business.
The spirit of discernment.
In business, that spirit just hits you at one point in your business because you get to a point where you say, did she just try me?
Yes, they will. They will. Probably, I would say not initially because I was just starting out learning that whole let's have a business because back in the day, I never thought I would be a business owner. I just thought I was going to continue to clock in on someone else's clock. And it just somehow came to me one day that, I'm opening my own clinic. I can't work at that other clinic anymore. They're treating human beings like assembly line. Human beings are not assembly line.
Now in business, though, I understand why they do it. Like, I understand the mindset behind it.
Yeah, well, I don't like that mindset behind it when you're dealing with patients. Patients need some one-on-one time.
Oh, I meant employees.
Yeah, well, I'm on the patient part.
Yeah.
Patients need one-on-one time. Patients need some of your attention. They just sometimes we all need it. We're human beings, and we should not treat human beings, especially our seniors, like assembly line at all, and especially our children. We have to give them their time, and a lot of things with patient care is patient specific. It's not for everyone. So you have to be one-on-one with them. I hug, a lot of my patients have been coming for years. I hug them, I kiss them. I get invited to parties and graduations. I know their kids and things like that. They trust me and they love me, and it's the whole love behind it. A lot of those patients showed up to my dad's funeral. I didn't expect them to be there. They was there. That showed a lot of love.
Yeah.
So a lot of this is also in my book. I have a book called Reprogrammable, my bio. Yes, I've written 2 books. Oh, Molly, you're behind. You didn't do a
behind.
full research. Yes, so...
is that on Amazon? Where is that?
It is, but it's better if I get it to you so I can sign it for you.
Oh, yes.
Yes. And it's called Reprogrammable, and it's out. It's Dr. Secil, reprogrammableBook.com. I think that's what it is. And it's the bio. And I told on people dead and alive.
Oh,
I told.
What'd you tell?
I told the things that they did to me. I told my childhood on up. I told because writing.
You put their name in there.
I changed the name so I couldn't get sued later. People always want some money,
Try
girl.
to sue you on a daily.
They will try to sue you, baby. So I made sure I changed those. But let me tell you, writing that book was very therapeutic for me. And someone asked me, did you have a ghostwriter? How did you write it so fast and write all that and add all the detail? Because I lived it. I don't need a ghostwriter. Let me tell you. I wrote everything, whether I was on an airplane or sitting on a beach somewhere. If it popped in my mind and I wanted to put the pen to the paper, I put the pen to the paper and we wrote it out.
What's one of the most changing times? Because I know you said you went through domestic abuse. What was at that point where you said you had to leave? Because I know you said you were living out of a locker.
Yeah.
At what point?
What point I had to leave was when...
tell me descriptively what that scene looked like for you. You
Okay.
know, a lot of women, I know, for me, it was like hugging the toilet. I don't know if you...
Well, see, when you went through your domestic violence, you went through it as an adult. I went through it as a child. So that's a big difference. It's still the same. It's a big difference because you probably had more substance and more maturity. I didn't, although I'm an old soul and kind of had to grow up quick.
What's maturity? Because
because mine was at childhood, and I just knew. I had dinner one night, and the gentleman was upset because I put ketchup on my meal. Everyone knows I love ketchup on everything. I've gotten ketchup for Christmas before. So next thing I knew, I saw my body laying on the floor. I was strangled.
The man that you were on a date with?
No, this is my mom's boyfriend. I'm a kid.
Oh, okay.
I was like in 8th grade or something. I was at only 93 pounds. And my mom come in the kitchen, she thought I was dead. I was like a rag doll, lifeless. And I remember seeing myself lying on the floor. And I'm looking at myself and I'm just lying there and I couldn't do anything about it. That's like an out-of-body experience, right? I wrote about all this in the book.
Yeah.
So,
Did at that point you feel like, because I know it's young, in young mindset, we think maybe something's wrong with us. Were you ever hit with those type of
Oh, no, ain't
ideas?
nothing wrong with me. Oh, no. I was trying to see if it was my time yet. But the Lord said no, so I started coming to, and it was like a slow recording going, then coming back in, and I was looking around.
Did you kick him?
And I couldn't.
Did you get up and at least kick him?
No, I couldn't breathe. So I was
breathe.
trying to get up to catch my breath, and I ran for the back door because I bicycle long distance. I love to bicycle. My bike was out there, but it was chained, and I couldn't get it quickly. And I'm trying to run away from this person with no shoes on, and I'm throwing up blood.
You throwing up blood?
Oh yeah. So then I started running toward my grandmother's house, which was a few miles away, and they must have called and told my aunt or something because she seen me and was able to pick me up, but because I was walking with no shoes and coughing up blood, and I've been strangled over some ketchup, and this is not even my daddy. This is some other man.
What did your mom do?
So nothing.
Did she say anything when you returned?
I was not returning.
Oh, you.
That's when I started running away and just was gone and kind of living at different people's houses and stuff with bags. I remember having bags all the time, like that Steak and Shake bag I shared with you. I remember that. So those were the turning points for me, and I had to learn how to be strong at an early age. And some people tell me now, Secil, you aggressive. Okay, well, instead of calling me aggressive, why don't you read my book, or why don't you learn something about me? I'm the way I am because I was made this way. Okay, so if I would have perhaps grew up in a different household, I wouldn't be aggressive now. But I have to be strong, I have to be aggressive. My mom says sometimes I act like a man in business and stuff. Okay, so I'm a man today, and this is how I'm gonna be, this is how I'm gonna act. And my uncle would ask my mom, how does Secil do this? Or she tell people what to do, and she drives this and run around do this, and she has a different guy or does this. My mom said, you men do all that stuff, so it's okay. But when a woman's doing it, it's not okay. Well, it is okay for me because that's normal for me. That's my norm. That's me. So my mom says I've been running the show since I was 11. So I've probably been running the show since I was 11. Because I had a business when I was 11, Molly.
Oh, no.
I had a whole candy business, wholesale. My great-grandfather, he helped me get everything through the wholesale candy companies back in the day on Marcus on Dr. Martin Luther King down there. And I had boxes of Twix and Snickers and Airheads and the penny candy. Remember, we don't have penny candy anymore. And you know those big gallons of pickles and put the peppermint. Don't let us put the peppermint in the pickle, girl. So I would sell all these items out of our home and to the schools, and I really started making money then. So I don't think I've ever really been broke before. I think that I've always had money. I've always worked. And even when I worked in the hospitals or worked anywhere, I will work 7 days a week if I have to, if I want something. I will work overtime like it is no tomorrow if I want something or need to do something. And I've been this way since early on. Early on. Great work ethic, I say, for myself.
So how did you transition into motherhood with all of the ambition and drive you have? Like, how was that for you? Like, did you sit down, like, for, that 6 weeks recommendations? No.
When I had Symphony, who's now 21, my husband, Russ, at the time, he took paternity leave, they call it now. He was home for 6 weeks. When I had that child, I was still in school. And I only missed 2 days of school, and I showed up with that breast pump, and I was barely walking, and I was all stitched up and everything. And my instructor was like, "Oh my God, Secil, you just come in here." I said, "Hey, I'm gonna treat me like you treat everybody else." She said, "I can't. You can sit here, or you can pump your breast or whatever." No, I'm gonna finish this program, and I want to finish and walk with everyone else. Just because I had a baby, there's no excuse. And Dad had that carrier, and he dropped me off, and he did his part, and I did my part. But I was not gonna graduate just because I had a baby. Okay, so
was there any friction when those roles changed? Because society put these beliefs on us that, hey, a man won't feel like a man if he takes on that home role.
One thing about Russ Shadrosky is he has always been supportive even to this day. And we have been separated for 7 years, and our divorce will be executed, completed. What's the word? I don't even know the word to this. Completed in a few weeks, and we are really, really good friends. But one thing about Russ Shadrosky is very, very supportive, even now. He supports all the businesses. He stops by, asks me if I need anything. He will help out at the restaurant, and I think he likes it. And he'll help in the kitchen, or he's taking orders as a server or bus tables. I really think we just ended up being great friends, even though we grew apart as a husband and wife. We're great friends, and we still good as a family and with our children. And Russ is always at my brother's house or at my mother's or something like that. So I'm hoping that we will always keep it that way. And so far, is not an issue. We'll probably still hug each other at the court date on August 6th. Matter of fact, I'm going to ride with him. So we'll be doing this together. I know that's really rare, but this is just how we are.
Yeah.
And
That's a blessing.
And I'm happy
to have
about
that friendship.
Yeah,
for sure.
it's great. I think it's great. And I really honestly hope it stays that way. And we just love our children, and we love to go out to eat with them together as a unit. And I said, Russ, why you always do everything for me? I asked him, months ago, and he's like, Cecil, because we're family.
Yeah.
So, that part. That's part. So if someone needs to learn how to co-parent, they can take notes from us.
Someone out there needs to learn how to co-parent.
Take notes from the Shadroskis.
We gonna send a prayer out tonight.
Is that another book? Take notes from the Shadroskis.
How do we get to that mental space, emotional maturity? For sure.
It's definitely emotional security and maturity, and also having emotional intelligence. And people don't discuss that. So I also want to share that I wrote another book, and it's a comic book, and it's called A Black Bonnet. And I'm
Black Bonnet.
Yeah, I'm like a superhero at night and a provider in the daytime.
You just keep surprising me with everything.
Surprise! And this book was based to help and assist. A lot of our men live in silence. They suffer in silence. And it was to focus and made it a little easier to discuss erectile dysfunction and obesity, because I kind of specialize in obesity and in erectile dysfunction, and I love to help people in their love lives, whether they're married or not. But we always want to have that feeling and source of comfort and love and togetherness, because I think the Lord made us here to be with one another, to have intimacy and have human touch. So it's so important when people are having those issues. I really like to help with that erectile dysfunction. And obesity is really the center of all different tentacles of other comorbidities like high blood pressure and cardiovascular issues and diabetes and those sort of things. Sometimes, most of the time, if we can just get a control of that center, which is the obesity sector, then we are able to lower our diabetes, lower our A1C, lower the high cholesterol, and lower our blood pressure. So that's why that book was made, and it's called The Black Bonnet.
Black Bonnet about...
Yes. Because black women wear bonnets at night.
Oh,
and that's where we got that from.
Yeah, that'll definitely
the black bonnet.
Right? Okay, so
STLBlackBonnet.com.
Okay, we're gonna put that link down so they can get both of those books, because you had two.
Yeah.
So tell me, one thing we have at Unapologetically Molly is, what I do want to know is, what were if you could say over your whole life, what are the 3 top things in life that you are unapologetic for?
Being myself.
That's a common
Dr. Snaz, Dr. Cecil, the Black Bonnet, whatever my name may be today, CC, Miss Cecil. People have different names for me. I am unapologetic about being who I am and being myself. I will not change for anyone. This is me. What you see is what you get.
Okay. And your last one, was that 3?
I don't know. I didn't even count it. Could
one
have been
more.
just
Give
one.
us one more. I think that was 2. Last one. Let's wrap them up. What are you unapologetic for? Last one.
If you try to take advantage of me or try to play games with me, I release you with love. If you ever need anything or needed any care, or even if you needed something to eat, I will still take care of you. But I do not forget anything, and I know how to handle you. That is unapologetically, whatever.
Unapologetically.
Yes.
I unapologetically can love you from a distance.
That's right. And I can release you with love, unapologetically. Dr. Snaz.
Dr. Snaz.
Yes.
Well, thank you for tuning in. Thank you again, Doctor. I have been trying to get hold of you for a while, so I'm so glad we got a chance to sit down. We are going to have to sit down and talk about this bonnet one, because I think that's a whole nother, podcast.
She said
for sure.
another.
Another
she said
one.
Another. So let me hit you with this other one. I have accepted and been nominated for 5 awards, and for humanitarian awards, both from St. Louis and from Detroit, for excellence, Black excellence in the community, and for humanitarian and those sort of things, and the NITA Award, and the Black Girls Rock, and my home won for the Homeowners Association, won the Custom Home of the Year for 2021, and I designed her myself.
Your home.
My home.
The one you just built.
Yeah, 2 years. Took 2 years to build her. Been there for 3 years, 6.5 acres right there in beautiful Jefferson County.
6.5 acres.
That's right.
I mean, do you got like dogs to cover the 6 acres? I always
Dogs?
like
I don't need
protect
dogs.
the 6 acres. You never know who coming up your driveway.
Oh, they can't come up, baby.
They can't come
No, they can't come up. Everything's private and locked and gated, and you can't come on the property unless I let you on the property.
Gated for sure.
Yeah, and I painted some of the trees at the entrance purple. That means I am fully loaded.
Oh.
That's right. So try it if you want.
Thank you so much for joining us.
You weren't ready
The
for
purple
that.
trees, I'm going to notate that because I didn't know that was the calling card for that.
Yeah, that's a calling card for that. But we have a lot of animals on property. Turkey and her little attitude, she comes through a lot with the little turkeys. A lot of deer. I like sitting out watching them. We've got woodpeckers and hawks and all types of fish and
they
water.
garden you.
And
They're garden
it's
you.
just serene. It's wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to put a link down to Secil's Facebook. You have a lot of advice going on in your Facebook.
Some
lot
people
of
like
advice.
it, and some people can't handle it.
She is who she is.
That's it.
We're going to put a link to that. Do you have Instagram?
You know, I don't really use the Instagram much, but whenever I pop up on there, it's only because it's meta and it's linked to the Facebook for social media. But Secil Shadorsky and Secil Shadrosky. Shadorsky is in professional mode, and that's the one that we're using and have all of our followers. So if I were you, if you wanted to follow me, it would be with Secil Shadorsky, SCHODORSKI. We just misspell the last name by 2 letters on purpose, and that's because of the professional mode. So it's still myself, but that's where a lot of the fun and craziness is going on, and videos and things from the office that we do in the office, and just showing some raw stuff.
Raw.
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you again. And again, our viewers, remember to live transparently, intentionally, but most importantly, unapologetically.
Unapologetically.
Thank you. You said, ah!